Well, hello there. My name is Dr. Avis, media monetization mentor, business elevation strategist, and multi-seven-figure CEO of Media to Millions. It is my pleasure to be able to talk with you today about how to attract high-ticket clients now, like right now. Okay. So I'm excited to be able to chat with you about this subject today for a couple of different reasons. Number one, it's really needed. In case you were like Rapunzel and like maybe sleeping all of last year, you may have noticed that there was a little bit of a shift in the market. And if you have felt the impact of that shift, it may have left you wondering and questioning, is this even a market that is even open to high ticket sales right now? And I want to tell you with a resounding, firm, 100% all in tone, it absolutely is. The answer to that question is yes, but only yes if you understand the shifts that you need to make in order to close high ticket sales in this market, and you understand what high ticket buyers are actually looking for. And so that's really what I'm here to talk with you about today. Number one, the fact that yes, you can close high ticket sales today, but you have to approach those particular clients or potential clients from a specific standpoint. And that's what I want to break down to you today. All right. So I have 5 C's that I'm going to share with you, with probably a bonus C, okay, about how you can make sure that you make 2024 the year that you really are able to bust the bank open with high ticket sales. Let's get started. Number one, the very first thing that you need to keep in mind when you're looking to close high ticket clients is this. They need to see a level of congruence between where you are and where they are. What do I mean by that? I mean that high ticket clients are looking to work with people who they perceive to be at their level or above, ideally above, but at minimum at their level. They are not looking to work with people who they believe are not as accomplished as they are. So I want you to think about the high ticket clients that you would like to close. Are you presenting in a way that would help them to understand instantly that you are someone they can even take seriously? Are you showing up in your brand, in your marketing materials, in the quality of the work and that you put out, in your social media presence, in your media presence, beyond social media, and all of the things that you are doing with your marketing? You know, not the least of which is just your photos, right? The photos that you post of yourself online. Are you showing up in a way that bespeaks the professionalism, that bespeaks the level of success that would attract a client that is able to write those really long checks? Like this fact is true whether or not you're working with other businesses, like if you're looking to get corporate clients, okay? It's also true if you're looking to work with high net worth individuals, like if you're looking at people who can instantly wire you $25,000, $50,000 or more, okay? If either one of those are your targets, you need to make sure that your branding is on point, your messaging is on point, your visuals are on point, your videos are on point. Like all of those things that are representing you in the marketing sphere needs to showcase you as someone who already has a significant level of success. Now, that may be something that almost feels like a chicken and the egg situation for some of you right now. You may be thinking, well, man, I can't sit here and you know, wire somebody a $25,000 payment right off the top. So, you know, how am I supposed to show up like I can? And I'm not going to suggest that you fake it until you make it. I know we've probably all heard that phrase. I don't think that's the case. What I do want you to understand, though, is that you need to keep in mind that you don't need to be able to write the $25,000 check yourself in order to sell someone who is able to write that $25,000 check, right? Or even more, right? But what you do need to do is make sure that you can deliver on the other end of that check. If you know that they have a $25,000 plus problem, right, that you can solve, you need to show up in a way that bespeaks your ability to solve that problem. So in order to show up congruently, you need to make sure that your visuals are on check. That means you need to have high quality professional photographs as part of your branding portfolio. You need to make sure that your graphics, if you're using any, is on check, right? You need to make sure that your graphics are not just, homemade wonders, but that you invest a few dollars to get an actual graphic designer who has talent and skill to be able to make sure that you show up professionally. These sorts of investments, and yes, I did say investments because none of the things that I spoke about are free, will pay off dividends in your business because it's going to attract the level of client that would not be attractive if you showed up as someone who was just only showing up visually via, car phones, selfies. You know what I mean? So show up in a way that speaks your professionalism, and that's going to help you to attract that high ticket buyer because they want to work with someone who they believe is at least as successful as they are, if not even more successful. So that's number one, congruence. All right. Number two is credibility. Credibility. This is so key. Listen, in this market, buyers want to have a level of assurance that the money that they are spending is not going to be wasted. Over the past several years, when money was flowing fast and free, when people were getting, lots of extra cash from the government, quite frankly, when people were not spending as much money because they were at home, sequestered because of the actual pandemic, they weren't spending money on gas, going back and forth to work. They weren't, spending, their time doing all these other things. It was a lot easier for you to probably get their attention, keep their attention, and actually get them to swipe the credit card, right? At the end of the day. It's much more difficult to do that now. Not that it's impossible, but it requires a lot more out of you in order for individuals to feel confident enough to make those purchases. Why? Because lots of people made lots of purchases during that time span, and probably some of them got burned. And so they are being a lot more discerning about what purchases they're making now. So you need to show off your credibility to the best of your ability. How many ways can you think of that you can elevate the examples of success that you've gotten for other clients that you've worked with? How can you elevate your testimonials? How can you showcase your clients? How can you really tell their stories in a way that other people can resonate what those stories are for them? Like, can they see themselves reflected in the stories of the clients that you're able to showcase? And then if they can likely see it as a strong possibility that they can get similar results of your clients who've also received great results from you. So the bottom line is, this is a moment in time in which you need not be shy about pulling out those receipts. You need to show, in fact, receipt after receipt after receipt, because that begets credibility, and credibility comes before cash. Okay. Thirdly, you need to have confidence. Okay. I shouldn't have to say this, but I feel like I have to say this. Okay. This is not a moment to be faking the funk. This is not a moment to be doing something that you've never done before and that you theorize that you may be able to do. This is not a moment to be trying to teach something to someone that you just read a book yesterday on, and all of a sudden you think you're an expert. This is not that moment. This is that moment for you to lean in. In fact, I would argue, quite frankly, it's never that moment, but it's especially not that moment right now, okay? You are an expert in something. I guarantee you have an expertise in some area. There is something that you can do that has a great level of ease and flow for you. It's something that you can do, with your eyes closed, skateboarding backwards on the side of a ledge, and you wouldn't fall. Okay. It's something that comes that easy to you and that makes a difference in people's lives. When you figure out what that thing is, okay, then that's the thing that you should be selling. Not this thing over there that you think is hot, not this thing over there that you think other people are getting a lot of sales from. And so you want to jump into that because you think that you can get sales from that too. No, you want to focus on what is it that you do that begets great competence that you already have and utilizes it for the benefit of other people. Now, you may be an individual that has multiple areas of great competence, and congratulations if you are. And, that's a blessing, but sometimes it's a little bit of a curse because it becomes difficult for you to decide, well, what do I want to focus on? In which area do I want to sort of lay my trough in terms of my business? Or am I going to try to do it all? My first suggestion to you is to not try to do it all. The quickest path to $100,000 months, for example, is a straight line. It's not doing this thing, that thing, and everything where your attention is diverted. It's doing one thing really well with focus and with repetition. Okay. So figure out what is the one thing that I can go all in on with credibility, where I'm leveraging my expertise, where I'm leveraging my talents and abilities, and that I know will make a big difference in people's lives. That is the thing that you need to go all in on. I'll tell you a quick story about this issue of, competence, right? I have a client right now who just met her goal of hitting $100,000 by the end of the year of 2023. And let me just say, she didn't make that goal at the beginning of 2023. She actually got let go from her full-time job in October of 2023. And she set the goal for herself that she wanted to hit $100,000 more in her business between October and December of 2023 in order to replace the income that she would be losing from not having that job anymore. Let me tell you, she did it. But how did she do it? One of the things that we did was we really sort of refocused and recalibrated the direction of her business. Though she had met with some success in one area of expertise that she had, I actually had her shift her focus to another area of expertise that she had. In fact, it was the same area of expertise that she had in her job. And we figured out, how can we use this area of expertise, this thing that you've been doing for years, that you've been paid quite well by your employer to do for years, how can you leverage that into your own business with a great deal of success? It was really making that slight shift, okay, that took her from a business that was doing well, okay, she was making sales, but to one that really, really elevated really quickly between October and December, because she was able to recalibrate not only to her area of great competence, something that she had a huge expertise in, and was monetizing for years for somebody else, her employer. But also we were able to really help her figure out, how is that relevant to the needs of the industry right now? And when she got those two things together, that's where she exploded. So I'm going to really suggest that when you're thinking about what you need to do to attract high ticket buyers, yes, you need to think about, in what ways are you showing up in a way that shows up like you're congruent with where they are in your level of success. Yes, you need to be able to show your credibility that you're giving other people great success, but you also need to show up in a space in which you're competent. This was an area in which she was competent, okay? Extremely competent, beyond competent. As I mentioned, she's an expert. She had been paid six figures to do this for her business, for someone else's business. And now she's been able to utilize that same area of expertise to create six figures in her business in less than 3 months, okay? If she can do that, you can do that too. Number 4, confidence. This is absolutely critical. Listen, if you are not confident that you are the bomb.com, right, at what you do, why the hell would anybody else be? I'm just going to be perfectly frank. When you are in a selling situation of any sort, but particularly as it relates to high ticket sales, the person who is considering making a huge investment in you has to be confident that you can deliver. And it is impossible that they can be confident that you can deliver if you are not confident that you can deliver. Now, I'm not saying that you're going to show up and say, I'm not confident, because nobody would do that, right? But a lack of confidence shows up in other ways. It shows up in the level of just veracity in which you are carrying on that conversation that allows them to make the decision about whether or not they want to work with you. Are you showing leadership in that conversation? Are you showing certainty in your ability to produce results if they do the work? Now, I'm not saying that you're a miracle maker, right? But are you showing certainty with the quality of what you do? Are you showing certainty with examples that it's worked for other people like that person? And, if you're showing up in those ways, that you are showing self-confidence, that I want you to know that self-confidence is transferable. Confidence is in fact transferable, but guess what? So is the lack of confidence. So if you are in any way self-talking yourself out of your ability to deliver, even if those words never leave your mouth, the energy of that will be transferred to your prospect, and it will make them lean back instead of lean forward. It will make them say things like, I want to think about it, instead of saying, yes, here's my credit card. So you need to make sure that you show up confidently so that you can close the sale. Remember, confidence is transferable. That is absolutely critical for you to be able to close any sale, but especially at the high ticket level. And lastly, comprehensiveness. This is so critical, you all. Comprehensiveness. High ticket buyers are not looking for a part of a solution. They're not looking for a bite out of the pie when it comes to their broad, full pie of problems, okay? They're looking for someone who can come in and get the whole damn job done, okay? So think about the ways in which you can provide a comprehensive solution to the challenges that your potential clients face. High ticket clients are willing to pay for comprehensiveness. So do not think that you need to provide a very low cost solution and that's going to help you slide in under the door because your price is less. They are the type that would rather pay more to get the whole problem fixed than to pay a little bit piecemeal by piecemeal by piecemeal, wasting time all along the way, maybe managing different vendors all along the way in order to get that problem solved. Come together with an offer for them that is comprehensive in nature, that allows them to understand that, hey, if I work with this person, my whole problem is fixed, not just part of the problem. And that's going to not only help you to be able to close the sale, it's going to help you close the sale at a very aggressive price point. And then I promised you a bonus, okay? A bonus C, and here comes your bonus C, okay? We've talked about congruence, we've talked about credibility, we've talked about competence, we've talked about confidence, we've talked about comprehensiveness. Your last C, your bonus that I'm gonna give you in terms of closing high ticket sales is engineering your celebrity. Yes, engineering your celebrity. Like it or not, we are a celebrity obsessed culture. And that affects all of us at every level of the buying dynamic. So the degree to which you can engineer your celebrity by showing up in places that celebrities show up, that automatically makes people understand that, hey, that person probably costs a pretty penny to work with them. So I better be ready to write that big check. And number two, I really want to work with that person because of they're showing up in this very special, unique space where their competitors aren't. They're clearly a leader in that space. They're clearly one of the best in that space. And I don't want to work with the second best as a high ticket buyer. I want to work with the best. And what do I mean about engineering celebrity? It's about not only having a great brand online. It's about also showing up in those spaces that your competitors online can't show up, okay? So that means showing up on television, showing up on radio, showing up on podcasts, showing up in what I like to call earned media. Oh, and I left out publications, I think. If I did, definitely add publications to the list, right? So I want you to know showing up in those spaces are so important because oftentimes those spaces require you to get past gatekeepers. They require you to get past editors. They require you to get past producers, right? And so not everybody can get there, whereas everybody really can, start a Facebook page, an Instagram page tomorrow and say, whoo, I'm an expert in your field, okay, with little or nothing to show for it. But if you show up on their favorite podcast talking in depth and with great nuance about your area of expertise, guess who is going to get the nod from a high ticket discerning buyer who listens to that podcast? That would be you. And actually, podcast is a great example because I will say that if you even look at the demographics of people who listen to podcasts, they tend to be higher earners. They tend to be people who are high earning professionals. They tend to be people who have higher levels of education. They tend to be people who are more likely to have access to those long checks, either directly themselves or via their employers, or they tend to be people who hold high positions in companies that can, green light budgets to bring you in. For all of those reasons, I want you to make 2024 also a year in which you focus on elevating your presence in the media, because let me just say that is a critical way that you can engineer your celebrity, and that alone leads to more dollars to your bottom line. With that said, I hope that this has been helpful for you. I hope that you lean into these 5 C's plus the last bonus C of engineering your celebrity in order to attract high ticket clients, because I want you to know this: high ticket buyers are still buying, but are you still showing up? And are you still showing up the right way? And are you showing up in a way in which they know that you're credible at what you do and that you have receipts for what you do? If you do all of those things, then yes, 2024 is going to be the year that you close more high ticket clients and ultimately get more dollars in your bottom line. Listen, if you want to connect with me online, be sure to find me on Instagram at The Real Dr. Avis or on LinkedIn at Avis Jones DeWeever. And I look forward to seeing you all there to give you more tips about making sure that 2024 is your best year yet. Take care. Bye.